All right, gang, let's dive right into it. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday, tips to grow your online community. It's really great to be with everyone here today. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Jason there on the left, and we're lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist here at Brilliant Directories. Thanks, David, for taking the time to join us and help us out here today.
Hey everyone, glad to be back with you for another webinar. Looking forward to today's tip of the week, touching on some subjects that we've mentioned in blog articles before, but that we haven't really touched too much on in the webinar. So that should be a good one.
Yeah, really excited about that tip of the week. I think everyone will take away something actionable with that today. I always like to mention, if you're not already part of our Facebook group, you can always head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. It's a great way to keep the conversations going in between Webinar Wednesdays. Just click on the blue join button and we'll definitely welcome and accept you to that group. Head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And also, for those of you joining for the first time today, welcome. Webinar Wednesday is a great platform and channel for us to talk about some of the new features baked into the Brilliant Directories platform and how you can utilize them to help grow your online community. So some topics that we cover in addition to some of the new features that are available are how to use those features to help increase your traffic, convert visitors into actual signed up members. And one of my favorites I always like to mention is improving your website's navigation and the flow, how you present your site to people. I always like to take the stance and approach that simple is best. So if we get to your question today, we'd love to take a look at your site and see if there's ways we can help improve on any of these topics today. All right, and we do have quite a few BD Lab updates, so I'll go through these briefly with you. Some new features that are now available for everyone in the admin area of your dashboards. I think one of the biggest ones is the first one here on the list. It's actually a phase one. It's going to be launched in 3 phases, but it's going to add a wealth of functionality with regards to list management and segmenting members and actually sending newsletters and things like that. So we now have the ability to create and save member smart lists. So let me show you an example of what that is and how you can apply this and use this in your admin dashboard right now. So in this case, I'm in a sample site that we have in the dashboard area. And if you go to search members, what you'll notice is, so this is a view of all the members on the site. You'll all have this create smart list button right now. And what you can do is you can certainly save it and just save a list of all the members on your site. But where this really comes in handy is if you want to use any one of these search filters or combinations of these search filters and then create a smart list that will be dynamic. So if any member starts to meet this search criteria that you've put here, they'll automatically be added to that smart list. Right now, smart lists can be saved and you can store them and then you can export those lists at any time. I'll show you how you can do that. Later in the future, you'll be able to select specific smart lists that you would like to include when you're sending newsletters. So let me show you a quick example of how we can make a smart list. So let's just do a simple filter. We'll search for all our New York members. We'll just look for the New York State members and we'll do a search. So we have 7 members who have their location set in the state of New York. So all I need to do is now click on Create Smart List, give it a nickname, just call this New York members, and I'll just save that smart list. And I can also go to the New York members smart list. And what we can see here is these are my smart lists. You'll notice that you can view all your saved smart lists under the emails section here. So you all have that now. So I created some lists prior to this. I made a list of all the members who are classified as verified. I did my California members and my New York members. So right now this is a phase 1. It's working really well. You can certainly go and view the members that are part of this list. And these are dynamic lists. So if a new member joins and they happen to meet the criteria that they're located in California, as an example, this number will automatically change from 18 to 19. So just a few things you can do with these smart lists right now. You can edit the nickname. So if you wanted to nickname it something else, you can delete the smart list. It won't delete the members. It's just deleting the saved list that you've created. And then you can certainly export these members. So if you just wanted all your California members or California inactive members, it's really cool when you start using the different search filters, so you can get really granular with how you want to segment these member lists. So this is available for everyone, and we're really excited for the phase 2 and phase 3 releases of this that will provide more functionality around this with regards to sending newsletters. Okay, the next one on this list is being able to define a redirect page after a member signs up and after a member logs in. So logs in means they already have an account, they're visiting the site, and they're logging into their account. That one actually already existed. The new one that's available is defining the page you want to send people to after they sign up. And I'll show you just one example of how this could be used and how it could be helpful. So let's go to our dashboard area here. And on this sample site, we can go to our membership plans. And we have general users. So maybe you're telling people to just create a free general user account in order to access, in this example, we'll say the photo albums on your site. And so after they put their email and a password, I don't really care to send them to the page where they put like more information like a business listing would. I just want to send them to the photo albums page that they just signed up for access to. So in this case, you can click to edit. And here are the two options right now. They're located here. So you can see redirect page after login. So by default, it's the account homepage. You can certainly choose any other URL on your site that you'd like to send them to. And you can see here I chose redirect page after sign up. I've selected photo albums. And we could do a sample sign up and we can see how this works. So instead of being taken to my member dashboard, I'm going to be able to go and view the photo albums on the site. So here's the general user sign up page for this site. I'll just do test2 at test.com. And we can go ahead and create my profile. You can also change these text labels. I could say create my account and whatnot. So now I'll just click on this link. So this is a text label. So you can probably change this if you're going to be using this to send people to different pages, continue to the next step, or get my access now. You can get very creative to use these text labels in a way that matches the flow of your site. So I'll click on this and it should take me to the photo albums page. So one thing, here's an idea also. Maybe you have a classifieds site. What you may want to do is take people directly to the page where they can start adding a classified. I'll show you an example of that real quick. Let me log in as this member. And so, this member is logged in and they can go ahead and add different types of content. Maybe your site is focused around events. Let me click on this event link. So you may want to send them to account events add right when they log in so they can start adding events. Or perhaps you want to, if it's really an events focused site, you might want to just take them to all their events account events view. This is really nice and important because you can provide a more catered feel of the actions you want members to take. You can direct them to the better places you want on your site after they log in and sign up. So hopefully they'll take more action on the things you want them to do, just simply by directing them to the more important pages where they need to go. All right, this one is more of a quality of life and actually preventing user errors, stopping paid subscriptions when you're manually changing a member status from like active to canceled. When you delete a member, it will certainly delete them from the site and it will delete any like monthly subscriptions that they have open. But prior to this, if you simply set them manually from active to canceled, and I'll show you an example of this, it wouldn't necessarily stop their recurring subscriptions. So what we were seeing is that some members were being billed when they really shouldn't have been, simply because the extra step of going to the subscriptions area and canceling the subscriptions wasn't happening. So we've built this all into one cohesive workflow for you guys. So let me show you how that works now. Let's say you're in your admin dashboard. Somebody emails in saying, I want to cancel my subscription. That's perfectly fine. Let's say it's this Jennifer Cook person. So maybe you don't want to delete their information from the site because you might want to remarket to them later in the future. maybe ask them to rejoin. So in this case, what you may want to do is just use the quick edit and change their account status from an active account to a canceled account. So prior to this update, it would certainly cancel their account, but it wouldn't really stop the recurring monthly or yearly subscriptions attributed to this member's account. So now when you select canceled here, because this person wants to cancel their account, and you hit save changes, you are going to be prompted, and it's going to ask you if you also want to cancel active billing subscriptions. So you can choose the blue button to keep the subscriptions active or the red button to cancel the subscriptions. In most cases, we are going to want to cancel any active subscriptions because the person has requested to be canceled from the site. So this is a quality of life. It should certainly help reduce any user errors or accidental billings if you're manually canceling members from your site using this manual method in the quick edit pop-up. Okay, and this is a pretty big one. It always comes up in the Facebook group from time to time. It seems to trend at different times of the year. But if you're restructuring your top level categories on your site, if you were to delete a top level category, the members who were assigned to that top level category, they would essentially need to all manually be assigned to a new top level category. And also the corresponding sub-accounts of a top-level category would basically not have a top-level category attribution assigned to them. So with this, you can now both move members and move subcategories seamlessly with this workflow if you are deleting your top-level categories. And you may delete top-level categories for many reasons. Maybe they're not used on your site anymore, or you're consolidating and kind of combining categories to be a little bit more broad. So let me show you how this workflow works. And what's really good about it is what it's really solving here is you're not going to have rogue members that don't have that top level category assigned to them, or rogue subcategories. So if you go to your member categories, and here we see our top level categories. So let's say we want to delete restaurants. We have 2,000 members assigned to this. Before, if you would delete it, it would just delete the categories, and those 2,000 members would not have any category attribution anymore. But now when you delete it, you kind of get this workflow here. First, you get this pop-up. It'll show you that you've selected restaurants as the top level category to be deleted. You also get some nice stats here. It lets you know that you have 2,000 members, 188 subcategories are assigned to this top level category. So sometimes you may think twice, or it might prevent you from doing an error of accidental deletion of a category. But we have these two beige boxes here. The first one is related to what you want to do with the members who are assigned to this category. So the first question is assign existing members to another top level category. By default, it's selected yes. And then the second option here is, okay, what top level category do you want to assign these members to? So you can choose any one of your other top level categories here. So maybe, it could be nightlife. If you choose no, just delete the top level category, you will have the rogue members who aren't assigned any top level category. And that second option goes away because we're not going to be choosing an alternate top level category to move these members to. The second beige box here is asking you what you want to do with the sub-level categories that are already nested underneath this top level category. So again, by default, we've selected yes for you because this will help prevent rogue sub-level categories. So what we can do is yes, assign to another top level category. So we can move these sub-level categories under a new top level category, and you can choose that here. So maybe we want to move all the restaurant top level categories under nightlife again, and this will work just like that. If we select no, then it will not move the subcategories to a new top level category. It seems like pretty small, but this is pretty big, and we're also going to be applying the same logic in the coming weeks, maybe a month or so, so you can move sub-level categories specifically under other sub-level categories and things like that. Or you can delete sub-level categories and move the members to other respective sub-level categories as well. So we're going to expand on this workflow and logic in the coming weeks and months. Okay, and a few things coming down the pipeline. I've mentioned this one before. the ability to force log out any staff or team admins from your dashboard area. So that's related to kind of a little bit more security. In case you're afraid there was a breach or something like that, you can do a force log out of the admin account. This one is pretty cool, and I can show you a quick demo of it. The ability to add images into private member chat messages. So if you have the private member chat add-on and you are using it on your site, right now members can send plain text messages back and forth to each other. But here in this example, you can, let me just remove this image. You'll have this button here to insert an image similar to the text editor, but you don't need all the text editor options in a chat scenario. So what you can do is drop images here, and let me find one. Here's a puppy. And you can certainly send that message. You know, here is my kitchen that we want to remodel. So, you know, you can do things like that. It'll just provide a more rich experience for the people who are chatting back and forth to each other, being able to share images like this. This is another big one, the ability to embed code from any platform into blog posts or anywhere you see the text editor. And I'll kind of show you what this is in reference to. We can just use the blog articles as an example. So right now, if you're going to create a blog article, in the text editor, really all you can embed is a video embed code, and it'll really only support YouTube and Vimeo. And this is really done for the protection of your site. You don't really want members embedding a code from random domain names and things like that. So what you're going to have is you're going to have an advanced setting, and you can actually whitelist the domains that you want to allow yourself or your members to embed content from. So if you have your podcasts or you have audio files somewhere else, you know, like Podbean or, you know, even iTunes and things like that, and there is embed code from those sources, so you can embed those players on your site. You can whitelist those domains, and then you can very easily embed them into the text editor. So if you have podcasts or things like that on third-party solutions and platforms, now you can whitelist those domains and easily embed them into your text editor here. So we'll be unlocking that functionality soon. And then here's one. Right now, you know, your site comes with a lot of default searches. So like keyword and location, or top level category, sub level category and location. There haven't been any default ones available where it's keyword and category. So you can type a keyword and select a category for your member searches and then conduct a search. So what we're doing by default is I think we're adding just under 10 new search modules that will be available to everyone that will include keyword and category mixed options for you to choose from based on your site's needs. So just as an example, you'd be able to do like, you can select the one that's keyword, top level category, and location, and have that available in your sidebar so you can search members with that. And then the last one here that's coming soon, I kind of referenced it earlier, the ability to select these new smart lists when you're scheduling your email newsletter campaign. So you can get a lot more granular and have more precision when you're scheduling your newsletters to really target the members with the right messaging that you're trying to get out to them. There's also a ton of stuff coming down the pipeline. These are just a few I wanted to mention in this webinar Wednesday. What I'd like to do, and I know I went at rapid speed here, but let me lower everyone's hands. If you have a question about any one of these BD Lab updates, either the ones that are released or coming soon, happy to take a question or two about that before we dive into the tip of the week here today. Let's see, we got a hand up here. How you doing, Peter?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Peter. Where are you calling in from?
From Sydney in Australia. So
good morning.
Good time in the morning. Hey, you know, I'm excited about the embed feature as well, so that's super cool. I like the smart list functionality. Just thinking for the future, because we've got a few other parts of the business outside of the directory. Would there eventually be a capability to do so, probably with a developer or something, but to do like an API connection to a smart list? So if there were particular members that meet a certain criteria, it then allowed those to be sent over to like a CRM or something like we use Pipedrive, for example, which is a CRM. Yeah.
So we haven't decided how we want to do it yet. That's a fantastic question. What we want to do is kind of nail the smart lists in the admin area. The next thing after that, we have to explore what would be the easiest or most value for the BD community. But just as an example, we might be looking at like a Zapier integration.
Totally. Do that, and then I'll never, I'll never leave you guys.
So we can add Brilliant Directories as a Zapier platform solution, and then from there you can map the different fields to all the different platforms they already hook up with. So rather than building the individual integrations ourselves,
Unreal.
I don't know if it's going to be Zapier, but something like this where we can add the most value in the shortest amount of time for the community.
I was just Googling Zapier and BD integrations this morning, so it was on my mind. So yeah, do Zapier. No.
And probably we're looking towards the end of the year or the beginning of 2021. It's a little bit of a ways away, but 6 months goes pretty quick. But right after we nail all the stuff with the smart list and the admin, the next is, okay, how can we get these smart lists integrated with other CRMs?
Yeah, no, it's good to know the future, and there's plenty to do before then. So that's cool. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome, Peter. Good stuff there. All right, guys, thank you for those questions. We'll get to some more questions in just a little bit. But David, you've put together this fantastic presentation for us this week, 5 tips for finding new members. So I just want to pass it over to you if that's okay, and you can take us into a deep dive about some of these tips.
Definitely, thanks. 5 tips for finding new members. We've touched on this subject more in a broader sense in previous webinars, but in this one, we're going to dive into some pretty specific strategies that you can use to not only find new members, but also to help keep them active on your site, keep them in your community, rather than kind of just attracting new members and then hoping for the best and hoping that they stay members on your site. So going into that, finding new members, it is a lot different than actually keeping and maintaining members and making sure that they're active within your community. The key here is to nurture and cultivate your members and try to make them feel like they're a vital partner, not only to you in your website, but also within your community as a whole. And the key to that is earning their trust and having their best interests at heart, addressing what their needs are and how you can make their life easier, save them money, whatever your target demographics goal may be. We've touched on that specific point in most of these webinars. And so tip number 1, creating a community. People, they do want to be part of something that's bigger than just themselves. They want to feel like they're part of kind of a social group of like-minded individuals. Gives them the opportunity to bounce ideas off of one another, discuss related topics of interest. And creating a niche builds that community faster. We've often talked about the easiest way to get a new membership community or new membership website going is to focus on a specific niche rather than focusing on a broader topic, a broader audience, a broader industry. Focusing on that specific niche really helps you narrow down who it is you're marketing to, what specific problems or pain points they have, and how you'll be able to address those. So that'll really make it easier when you're starting from scratch to get that ball rolling with creating that community.
And I just want to touch on that too, David, about creating that community. When you're launching a website or again, like a new online community or service, you have to sell people. You have to get them behind your mission, your purpose, and what you're going to be providing to them as a solution. So when you're specialized and approaching those people or those businesses or whoever your target is, it's a lot easier to make a meaningful and lasting connection when your site is specialized for them. So with the other point you mentioned, when sometimes when I ask people who is your website for, is it everything for everyone? When you're that broad, when your site is supposed to be everything for everyone, it's a lot of work for you because your marketing efforts will be spread too thin trying to appeal to everything and everyone, rather than being hyper-focused and specialized, which will give you an edge to tell people like, look, this is what we're specializing in, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z for this specific group of people. And immediately that already eliminates a hurdle or roadblock for people who might have doubts or questions about joining your organization or community, because you're already telling them our organization is for people or companies like you. So specializing is a really, really big and important thing, especially when you're starting out. And as you grow, you can always expand to new markets or new categories, member categories and things like that. So if you're thinking that your site is everything for everyone, I would highly recommend rethinking your idea and find a way where you can specialize either within a certain vertical or a certain location or a combination of those two.
And there's a great quote by Daymond John. If you're not familiar with the show Shark Tank, he's an investor on the show. A lot of us here at BD enjoy watching it. And he said you'll get a more positive, meaningful, and enthusiastic response when you appeal to a specialized, intimate community. So again, that touches on focusing on that specific niche, whether it's a specific location, a specific professional industry, or another type of niche like dog owners. And tip number 2, getting in front of these new members. The key here is really to be proactive. Don't wait for your members to find your website. You want to be able to show up where they already are. So the big area for this would obviously be social media. Specific target demographics, they'll tend to cultivate, on a specific social media platform. For example, the fitness industry, they're most prevalent on YouTube and Instagram, not so much on Facebook and Twitter. So if that's your target demographic and your target industry, then those are the platforms that you'd really want to be focusing on. Some specific target demographics, they might not be so much into specific social media platforms, but they might have their own pages or groups. Facebook is obviously really expanding their groups feature. There's a lot of new groups out there, maybe some forums like different subreddits. So there's different areas where you can find your target demographic are online. And so you want to identify those locations and go directly to them. Another alternative would be for more of that professional side of the membership or directory websites would be if your target demographic or industry is more local, if they have trade shows, conferences, or events that you can attend and spread the word that way. We've heard sometimes from some website owners that they kind of just set their website up and let it do its own thing, and they just start to get members signed up on it, by themselves, and they don't really have to touch it. It's kind of a set it and forget it kind of thing. That has worked in the past. We typically wouldn't recommend that. It's better to be proactive rather than reactive and kind of just sit there and wait for things to happen. Being proactive, you'll also be able to get feedback directly from the people who you're actually targeting. And then a key with this is also connecting with those influential industry leaders, finding what platforms they most utilize and kind of piggybacking off of them.
And to get more specific, getting in front of them, you can show up in Facebook groups and things like that, but also creating some useful assets or what we call lead magnets. So, and creating lead magnets can take a lot of work, but if you create just a few quality ones, it's like some good ebooks, and you have some decent landing pages on your site, you have something to put in, not only get in front of them, but you have to have things to put in front of them. Something of value that's going to want them to engage with your community. You definitely want to have those assets ready. So, how-to PDFs, top 10 tip PDFs or ebooks, you can easily create a Word document and save it as a PDF and make it available on your site. Having landing pages where they can register for things, maybe it's webinars. We've talked about some of these ideas in previous webinars, but not only get in front of them, but put something in front of them that has some value and shows not only credibility and authority from your community that you're an expert or you're the place to be for a certain niche, but it's also something that can bring them in, so you have some inbound marketing and those assets are working for you to not only to get in front of them, but to put things in front of them that they want and need. So think about what you're actually putting out there that people are going to want. And then use that as your method to get in front of them. Say, hey, we have a new blog post. Okay, so you're putting the blog post into existence, and that's where you're going to get in front of them to get your brand name out there.
And that plays right in to something that you can use when or if you're choosing to have brand ambassadors. So a brand ambassador is just simply a person with influence who will represent your community and who can help spread the word, not only online about your community and your website, but also offline. So this could be anyone from social media influencers, and depending on their size, that might be a little difficult to connect with. But you could also go with industry leaders. Going back to the professional directory example, if you have a business directory in the medical field, or say even in the law field, if you're able to form a connection with, say, a prominent or a successful doctor or attorney, they could be a good voice and person to share your website with those within their inner circle. Trying to build these ambassadors, you really want to do it organically. You don't want to kind of throw as all the darts you have at the wall and see which ones stick. Try to target them. Don't go for the really big fish. You're probably not spending your time as wisely as you could be if you're doing that. Go after the more attainable ones and make sure that the people that you are targeting, that they do truly believe in your community, what it is you're offering, the niche that you're focused around. This could also be your existing members. If you already have a bit of a community built up and you notice that some of your members are really engaged and energized by your community, and you notice that they have a decent following elsewhere online, you might want to reach out to them and see if they'd be willing to act as kind of a voice for your community. And you can reward these ambassadors. It doesn't necessarily have to be with actual money, but you can provide them with either free or exclusive access to different areas of your website, or maybe provide them with upgraded features. You could also start an affiliate program. ShareASale is a great one. We actually have an integration with ShareASale and the BD platform, so that's really easy to set up. Basically, they have a link, and anytime somebody clicks on the link and they sign up on your site, they get a certain percentage of that membership sale, whatever you choose to set that as. So there's a few different ways you can go about doing this. It doesn't necessarily have to cost you that much money or any money at all. But I think the key here is focusing on those attainable ambassadors and not just looking for ambassadors who are outside of your community already, but also looking within your community and see who within your community might act as a good brand ambassador for you, both on and offline.
And actually, talking about brand ambassadors, these are people who can speak nicely about your company and maybe get word of mouth referrals sent to your site. Rather than just social media influencers and industry leaders and gurus and icons, some of your best brand ambassadors can be simply your founding members, the people who have been following your journey since you started. You should hopefully have the best relationships with them. And they can help you get the word out about your website. There's no doubt that they have friends or colleagues who share similar interests, who may want to join your community as well. So the founding members who first join your site, those are great. And it's actually going to be point 5 here that we have in the slide, but building some good relationships, because those loyal relationships and the word of mouth you'll get from referrals from your founding members. And if you have an ongoing practice to turn every new member into kind of a brand ambassador, making them feel special, that's part of your marketing strategy and your marketing budget, because your customer or member acquisition costs, if we can get them to kind of share your site, whether on social media or word of mouth or referring people to your site, that's going to save on your marketing budget when your members are perpetuating some of your marketing efforts for you. So that really is the goal of brand ambassadors, is finding and identifying people who can help perpetuate your brand's marketing efforts in a positive way, because they believe in your product and the community that you've created. So keep some of those things in mind when you're thinking about brand ambassadors. Think about the people closest to you first. And then, of course, you can always look for gurus and icons who can, give you a mention in one of their posts or blog articles or something.
That's right. And relating it back to point number 2, when you do have the brand ambassadors, it's a lot easier for them to share your website and your community with others if they have something of value to show that your website is useful. So if you have, those informational PDFs or the ebooks or videos that they can share with their followers or their community, people within their inner circle, that'll make their job a lot easier in helping to bring people over to your website. So tip number 4, don't be afraid to upsell. We have touched on this a little bit in some of our previous blog articles, but don't think of upselling as kind of trying to go after a hard sell. Target the members who are already happy on your website, the ones who have been with you for a while, the ones who are interacting on your site, or if you have a Facebook community to go along with your website, who are interacting over there. Show that you're committed to helping make their experience even better than it already is. And these upsells, they should be relevant. So you don't want to offer them something that's totally unrelated to your website or your community or that target niche that you're focusing on. It should still all be within or under that same umbrella, and demonstrate how that upsell can save them time or money or whatever benefit it is that you're marketing to your target demographic. So some examples of upselling would be just the simple membership upgrade. If you have different levels of membership plans, if a member is either on, say, a free membership plan or maybe a lower tiered plan, you can upgrade them, offer to upgrade them even at a discount, or maybe sometimes even for free, depending on the circumstance, to your higher tier membership level so that they can unlock more features, maybe different areas of your website, whatever the differentiating factors are of your membership plans. Another one would be additional services. So if you're offering additional services outside of the website community itself. So for example, going back to the professionals directory, if you have a directory for attorneys or law professionals, you can offer those attorneys not only a membership or listing on the website, but maybe you're also offering a live webinar showing them or giving them tips on how to attract more clients or where to go to find clients that they're specifically focused on, the area of law that they're practicing. So there's a few different ways you can craft these additional services that you're providing outside of the membership itself. Another one that a lot of people kind of overlook is the discounted lifetime plan. So with this, most membership websites offer membership plans either on a monthly or a yearly payment basis. A lot of people, especially if your community has already gotten the ball rolling and shows that there's some activity within it, a lot of times they'd rather pay an upfront fee, say maybe $100 instead of $5 every single month. So maybe after they've signed up and they've been a member for a couple months, you might want to send them an email and provide them with a special exclusive plan that's not offered on the front end of your site for a discounted lifetime plan so that they can save money in the long run. And then another one would be what's called a tripwire offer. So this would be something that kind of gets them in the door to your community. So you wouldn't be focused on the membership plan first. You'd actually be trying to sell them maybe a downloadable PDF or an ebook or a video series or a webinar, something on its own, an individual offering. And then once they see the value in that specific offering, maybe at the end of it or somewhere within it, you can relate it back to your membership website, your directory website, and try to move them over to your community that way.
Actually, that tripwire method it's basically the goal of these lead magnets is to exchange something of value like access to a video or an ebook or something in exchange for an email address, and now you can market to them in the future with things that they might be interested in, with the ultimate goal of piquing their interest enough to join the community as an official member, free or paid, whatever your model is. But those tripwire offerings are very similar to creating lead magnets and providing them with a small exchange at first, leading up to the bigger transaction of paying for a $2,000 yearly access to something special on your site. So yeah, some things to keep in mind.
So yeah, here's one of our blog articles. This was an article that we published quite a while ago. But if you want to get a little bit more information on some upsell techniques specific to membership websites, this might be a good one to check out. We talk about the benefits in manually upgrading individual members for free. I know it doesn't seem like it could be an upsell, but we explain how that is in the article. Sending out leads to the members and capitalizing on that. And then also the kind of umbrella idea of giving them an offer they can't refuse. We expand on that idea as well in this blog article. So you might want to check that out if you want to explore this topic a little bit more. And lastly, nurturing personal relationships. So this idea, I think, isn't focused a lot by smaller or new membership website owners. You can actually focus more on personal relationships with the smaller brand than something a big brand would be able to do. We see it all the time. Big brands, they have big marketing budgets and they market a lot, but smaller brands can actually form those really intricate and important personal connections with their customers, their clients, their members. So you can create those one-on-one connections with each and every one of your members. You can do this by responding to all the messages you receive, both positive and negative. The positive ones, obviously, you can thank them for their feedback. If you want to offer them some kind of discount or upgrade as a thank you, you can do that. But also reply to the negative ones. We've touched on this a couple times in previous webinars, where this actually presents a great opportunity to turn a bad scenario into a good one. And you can do this by, if somebody comes to you and they're having a problem or they're not thrilled with something on your website or within your community or how something's functioning, you can show that you're always available there to help them. You want them to succeed. You want to provide the best support that you can for them. And oftentimes, if you're able to make good on this, these people become the biggest champions of your offering, your website, your community. So this is actually a really important point to focus on. And going back to or focusing on the receiving the negative feedback, this is also a good point where once you make good on that situation, you can then ask that person for a testimonial or a review that you can put on your site. Oftentimes, these people will leave the best testimonials that you could ask for. Another one would be, by default, we touched on this earlier in the webinar, but the welcome emails, they're automatically sent out to the members when they sign up. But you can personalize and customize those email templates. So make them more applicable to your members and your membership community. That way it doesn't sound so generic. You can also ask new members if they need a helping hand with anything. You can proactively do this. It lets them know that you're available, that you're there to help, and that you want them to succeed on your website. And lastly, you can show your appreciation to all of your members, both new and long-term members, by offering them free upgrades, holding contests. If you have a local website, maybe you want to do meetups. That would be a great form of really strengthening the community aspect of your website. So all of this, nurturing these personal relationships, the big thing here is that it strengthens the relationships with not only your existing members, but it can also act as a good lead generator when those existing members share their experiences with their friends or family, coworkers, whoever else that they know that might be interested in your website as well.
Yeah, I think, let's remember the title of this tip of the week. It was 5 tips for finding new members. So, when we're nurturing personal relationships, that ties into the brand ambassadors. You're going to create good relationships. The more you're talking to someone or staying top of mind for someone, the more they're thinking about you, the more they might talk about you to their friend, family, or colleagues. So nurturing these relationships and providing good vibes to the people who are interested in your community. It goes back to that word of mouth and creating brand ambassadors of people who, talk about your community. Hey, there's this cool thing out there. You might want to join it. I'm part of it, and things like that. So creating those relationships are built into your, not only saving on your marketing budget, because again, they're perpetuating some of your marketing efforts for you, but it does create loyalty, and it definitely saves you from, again, the marketing budget really comes down to it becomes a huge savings, and that's how you can build an edge over competitors who may just be spending ad dollars on Google ads and Facebook ads and Google ads and Facebook ads. Getting these personal relationships you can't really just pay for with a Google ad, and that's how you can gain an edge on lowering your overall marketing costs, and also growing your community at the same time with people who really value what you're offering. So all this building a community and things like that, it's really tied to helping your marketing plan and turning the idea of good relationships with your members as part of your marketing strategy, which ultimately helps you find new members as the end game here.
That's exactly right. And I think that really ties this whole presentation together well going into the final slide. How finding and keeping members, it requires a balance. A lot of strategies, they can be seen as totally separate. Strategies for finding new members and strategies for maintaining your existing members and keeping them happy. But a lot of the times they can kind of intertwine and work with one another. So the big three takeaways here are to be proactive in making those authentic connections and to build trust through those connections and to do the right thing. So if somebody comes to you with a less than stellar experience on your side, or they're having some difficulty with anything, maybe you want to provide them with a free month of membership or give them a discount on one of those external services that you're offering, or maybe give it to them for free. If you charge for leads, maybe provide them with, their next 3, 4, 5 leads for free. Those small gestures, they really make a big impact, especially on those new members and when they're having a less than stellar experiences. Seeing that you're proactively taking a step to try to right any wrongs that there are, whether it's your fault or not, it really does make a big impact, and those people can become the biggest champions of your community and act as brand ambassadors for you in the future.
Yeah, and again, I'm just going to repeat what you said. I think the whole point of this tip of the week here is a strong community can help find new members for you, because those happy community members are going to refer you and do a lot of the heavy lifting with word of mouth advertising for your company. So all good things to keep in mind here, David. And I learned a lot of new things here today too. So hopefully we could take some of these actions here and actually bake them into what we do here at Brilliant Directories as well. So thanks for sharing that, David. All right, we're right on time here. We have time for a few questions. And if you have a question about your website or something that was presented on today, we'll try to get to a few questions here now. So we'll look for anyone who has their hands up. Keith was asking, how do you create an authentic connection with someone during COVID? Well, honestly, online huddles have been huge. We've all heard of Zoom now. I don't know how Skype missed the boat on that video conferencing, but we've all heard of Zoom now. And you might want to find ways to engage your community with watch parties that Facebook offers, or Zoom meetings, and you guys can talk about a discussion. Anything, you've created your community to help solve a problem or help connect like-minded people together. So, just like a teacher or a professor might have a lesson plan, what you might want to do is schedule a time for a webinar or an online meeting, invite some members, allow them to register, and start a discussion on a topic that may be of interest to your group members. Not everyone has to share their video and their face. You can just put a photo of yourself or something like that. So if you're a little camera shy, but Zoom meetings have been very popular. Facebook groups, those are a great way, or another way, any other group platform out there, so people can start discussions and talk, and you as the basically the moderator or owner of the group can respond to people. So anything to open a dialogue, to be honest, is a great way to create authentic relationships, especially during the COVID, when most people are staying home and in front of the computer and looking for people to talk to keep their mind busy. So Keith, those are some ways to connect with people during this pandemic here. All right, guys, it was a really great webinar. Thank you so much to David for putting together this tip of the week. And just to reiterate, it really talks about how a strong and loyal community can help with your online marketing efforts because of the word of mouth advertising that these happy members can perpetuate for you. Awesome lab updates coming down the line. Hopefully we'll definitely have more to share with you soon. And then join us in our Facebook group. You can head on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook, and we'll definitely see you there and get to your questions there. On behalf of myself, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, thank you so much for joining us today. The next webinar will be in 2 weeks. We're actually very lucky this July. We get 3 webinars. There's 31 days in July, and the first day is on this Wednesday. So we're going to have room for 3 total webinars this July. Very exciting. And I definitely look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful day and a brilliant week. Take care, guys.